Good day. The topic we are treating today is word problem involving fractions by Opola Monsurat. We've talked about word problem involving sum, differences and products, and also sum and differences combined with products. But in this particular video, we are going to discuss word problem involving fractions. So, lesson objectives. The objective of this video is for you to interpret and solve problems involving fractions, so that by the end of the video you will be able to solve and interpret word problem involving fraction, how to translate fractional statements into numerical expression. So the topics you must have known before you can watch this video are word problem involving sum, differences and products. You should know how to divide numbers. You should know how to convert mixed fraction to improper fraction, how to add and subtract fractions, and how to find the lowest common multiple of numbers. I believe you know the meaning of multiple. Like if you are told to write the multiple of 5, you know the multiple of 5 is what? 5, 10, 15, 20 and so on. So that's what multiple is called. So if you are given two numbers and you have to find the lowest common multiple, you write down their multiples and see that particular multiple that is common to the two number, the lowest multiple that is common to the two numbers. So that is how to find the lowest common multiple of numbers. For example, 5 and 10. You know, if you write down the multiples of 5, you have 5, 10, 15, 20. And 10, if you have to write down the multiple of 10, we have 10, 20, 30. If you see that 10 is the lowest common multiple of 5 and 10, because 10 is the multiple of 5 that is low, and it's also the multiple of 10. Is the smallest multiple of 5 that is also a multiple of 10. So that is how to obtain the lowest common multiple of numbers. So now we move to the main topic, word problem involving fractions. We are giving some hints on how to translate fractional statements to numerical expression. The first one is 3/5, which is what? 3 will be the numerator and 5, you know, fifth is related to 5. 5 will be the denominator. 2/3, 2 will be the numerator, and what is third? Third is the position 3, so 3 will be the denominator. 3/4, you know, when they say quarter, that means that particular thing has been divided into 4 equal parts. So quarter, 4 will stand for quarter. Therefore here 3 will be your numerator and 4 will be your denominator. We've been taught what square of a number is, you know, multiplying the number by itself. And here we also talk about the cube of a number, which is written as a raised to power 3, and that is multiplying the number to itself thrice, which is a multiplied by a multiplied by a. We multiply the number thrice. So now that is all about the hints. So these are the things you need to solve the examples and to do your exercise. That is the things you need when you are dealing with word problem involving fraction. So now we move to examples. The first example said we should obtain 4/5 of the positive difference between 10 and 25. We first pick out the important parameters, you solve for them, you write down a statement of problem, and then you solve. So that is what you are going to do for each of the questions. You pick out the important clues, we solve for them, we now write down what the question is talking about, and then we solve. So the second question says we should find the 2/3 of the sum of 10 and 20. So first look for the sum of 10 and 20, then we'll find the 2/3 of that particular result we have. And here half also means multiplication, like we have in BODMAS. You know, we have a bracket of multiplication, addition, and bracket of division, multiplication, addition and subtraction. So of here also means this particular of that is connecting 4/5 and the positive difference between 10 and 25 is multiplication. So the third question says we should divide 8 1/2. Divide 8 1/2 by what? The positive difference between 4 whole number 4/5 and 7 whole number 7/10. So to get positive difference, you know what you are going to do. You subtract the smaller number from a larger number. And here it's very obvious that 7 whole number 7/10 is greater than 4 whole number 4/5 because of this whole number 7 and 4. So we apply the same wisdom we did for all this into the other question. Now we move to the solution of the examples. We have 5 examples in all. So the first question says we should obtain the 4/5 of the positive difference of 25 and 10. I told you we'll first pick out the important clue. What is 4/5? Like I said, 4/5. So 4 will be your numerator divided by 5th pertaining to 5th position. So that's number 5. So 4 will be your numerator, which is the first word you have, and 5 will be your denominator. So now we obtain positive difference. And another important clue in that particular question is what? The positive difference between 10 and 25. I know when you want to obtain positive difference, you subtract a larger number from a smaller number from a larger number, and 25 is the larger number minus 10. So 25 minus 10 will give 15. Now we move to the question. We read out the statement of the question and then solve, since we have solved for the important clues. So therefore, 4/5 of positive difference between 10 and 25, we now want to write it down. 4/5 is what? 4/5. Of, I told you, is multiplication. Then what is positive difference between 10 and 25 is 25 minus 10. So this particular statement is the statement of the problem. That is what that particular question is talking about. This is the numerical of that particular statement in question 1. So now we already know the results for 25 minus 10, which is 15. So we have 4/5 multiplied by 15. 4 multiplied by 5 will give 60. 60 divided by 5 will give 12. Therefore, 4/5 of positive difference between 10 and 25 is what? 12. So the same thing also applies to the second question. We have to obtain 2/3 of sum of 10 and 20. So I told you we are going to pick out important clues. What is 2/3? You know how we do that. 2 will be your numerator, and third is related to 3, position 3. So that 3 will be your denominator. So another important clue is what? Sum of 10 and 20. You know how to obtain the sum of two numbers. That's the addition of those numbers will give you their sum. So you had 10 to 20, which will give 30. Therefore, the sum of 10 and 20 is what? 30. Now we move to the question, then we write down the statement. The question says 2/3 of sum of 10 and 20. You know 2/3 is what? 2/3 of multiplication. Sum of 10 and 20 is what? 10 plus 20. And we already have the result for 10 plus 20 to be 30. So we write down. That will be equals to 2/3 multiplied by 30. So using your calculator, 2 multiplied by 30 divided by 3 will give 20. So the conclusive statement will be 2/3 of sum of 10 and 20 is 20. That's that about the second question. You can see there is no more difference between the first and the second question. Now we move to something that's a little bit different. The third question says we should divide 8 1/2, 8 whole number 1/2, by the positive difference of 4 whole number 4, positive difference between 4 whole number 4/5 and 7 whole number 7/10. You know, I told you we'll pick out important clue. The first important clue is we obtain the positive difference between 4 whole number 4/5 and 7 whole number 7/10. So this is the statement, and this is the numerical expression. For you to obtain the positive difference, you subtract a smaller number from the larger number. Here 7 whole number 7 over 10 is bigger than 4 whole number 4 over 5. So we have 7 whole number 7 over 10 minus 4 whole number 4 over 5. So after you written the numerical expression, you convert your mixed fractions into improper fractions, which you have been taught in the previous lesson. So to convert, you multiply the denominator by the whole number, 10 multiplied by 7, 70. Then you add the result to the numerator. 70 plus 7 will give 77, divided by your whole denominator, which is 10. You do the same thing for this. 5 multiplied by 4, 20. 20 plus 4, 24, divided by 5. So now this is where you bring in the knowledge of subtracting fractions. So the first thing you do is you find the lowest common multiple of the denominators, which is 10 and 5. And like the examples I did the other time, I told you 10 will be the lowest common multiple. That is if you write down the multiples of 5 and the multiples of 10, you look at the multiple that is, you consider the multiple that is low and common to both 10, 5 and 10. For example, now let me do for 10 and 15. Let me find the lowest common multiple of 10 and 15, for example, for you to understand what I mean by lowest common multiple. If you write down the multiples of 10, 10, 20, 30, 40, and so on are multiples of 10. And multiples of 15 is what? 15, 30, 45, and so on. If you look at the first multiple of 10, 10 is in the first multiple of 10, but it is not a multiple of 15, so it is not its lowest common multiple. 20 is a multiple of 10, but it is not a multiple of 15, so that is not common to both of them. But when you look at 30 is a multiple of 10 and also a multiple of 15. So you start from the lowest, you do it from the lowest and see the one that will be common to both of them. So therefore 30 is the lowest common multiple of 10 and 15. So we do the same thing to 5 and 10 here. If you write down the multiples of 5, 10, 15, 20, and the multiples of 10 will be 10, 20, 30. We see that 10 is the lowest number that is common to both 5 and 10. That is why I said 10 is the lowest common multiple. So now the first thing you do, 10 divided by 10 is what? 1. 1 multiplied by the numerator of 10, 1 multiplied by 77 will give 77, minus, so it's not going to be separate again, it's going to be on a single fraction. 10 divided by 5 is what? 2. 2 multiplied by the numerator of 5, that will give 48. So we have a single fraction now, 77 minus 48 divided by 10, and 77 minus 48 will give what? 29 over 10. Therefore the positive difference between 4 whole number 4 over 5 and 7 whole number 7 over 10 is 29 over 10. So that's the only important clue we have in that particular statement. The next thing we do now is what? We go in and we write down the statement of the problem, and then we solve for the final answer. So the problem says we should divide 8.5 by the positive difference between 4 whole number 4 over 5 and 7 whole number 7 over 10. This is just what the question says we should do. 8.5 divided by 7 whole number 7 over 10 minus 4 whole number 4 over 5. I believe you know how to multiply fractions too. Those are the things you must have known before you watch the video. So this is it. We already have the result for this. That's why we said you convert this to improper fraction, like I taught you the other time. 2 multiplied by 8, 16. 16 plus 1, 17, divided by the denominator. That's why we have 17 over 2. And we already have the value for this, which is what? 29 over 10. So we have, so that will be what, 17 over 2 divided by what, that will be 17 over 2 divided by what, 29 over 10. So this is just rewriting this particular expression. And you know, when you want to change this division to multiplication sign, the denominator will change to the numerator, and the numerator will change to the denominator, and that is what we have here. 17 over 2 multiplied by 10 over 29. So we'll solve for this. We can say 17 multiplied by 10, 170 divided by 2 multiplied by 29, 58. So we have 170 divided by 58 will either give you 85 over 29 or 2 whole number 27 over 29. And that solves the question. Here you can use your calculator to check to see if the answer is correct. So the division of 8.5 by the positive difference between 4 whole number 4 over 5 and 7 whole number 7 over 10 is what? It's 5 over 29 or 2 whole number 27 over 29. This is gotten when you change this to mixed fraction. You know, this is an improper fraction, and here it is changed to mixed fraction. Is either you write it like this or like this. It is both. They are both correct. So now we move to the fourth question. So the fourth question says we should divide the sum of 2 whole number 3 over 5 and 6 whole number 1 over 10 by the positive difference between 3 whole number 3 over 4 and 7 whole number 1 over 5. You know, I told you we'll pick the important clues. The first clue is what? Sum of 2 whole number 3 over 5 and 6 whole number 7 over 10. And the second clue is what? Positive difference between 3 whole number 3 over 4 and 7 whole number 1 over 5. So after that, we solve those clues. Then we'll now write down the statement of the problem and then solve for the final answer. So the first thing is what? Sum of 2 whole number 3 over 5 and 6 whole number 1 over 10. You know, like I did the subtraction in the previous question, that's the same thing we do to this. Here we have 2 whole number 3 over 5 changed to improper fraction. It's now going to be 5 multiplied by 2, 10, 10 plus 3, 13, divided by your denominator, that's 5, plus what? 10 multiplied by 6, 60, 60 plus 1, we have 61 over 10. Here we also find the lowest common factor to be what? 10. So you do the same thing I did for the previous example for you to get the addition of 13 over 5 and 61 over 10. And when you do it, you have what? It's 7 over 10. That's, you know, the previous example too, we have 5 and 10. We know that the lowest common multiple is 10. 5 divided by 10 will be 2. 2 multiplied by 13 is 26. 10 divided by 10, no, the first one is 5. Second one, 10 divided by 10 is 1. 1 multiplied by 61, 61. So we have 26 plus 61. That's what? 87 divided by 10. So that is how this is obtained. If you listen carefully to the first example, you know how I got this 87 over 10. Now we move to the positive difference between 3 whole number 3 over 4 and 7 whole number 1 over 5. Mere looking at the whole number, you know that 7 whole number 1 over 5 is larger than 3 whole number 3 over 4. So you subtract this from this. So we have 7 whole number 1 over 5 minus 3 whole number 3 over 4. We convert this to improper fraction. 5 multiplied by 7, 35. 35 plus 1 will give 36 over 5 minus 4 multiplied by 3, 12. 12 plus 3, 15 over 4. So this is where you will show that you understand how lowest common multiple is obtained. So now we find the lowest common factor of 5 and 4. So like I taught you earlier, we write down the multiples of 4, which are what? 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, and so on. And we also write the multiples of 5, which is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, and so on. Now, the first common multiple of 4 is 4. Is 4 in the multiple of 5? No. So 4 cannot be the lowest common multiple. 8 is a multiple of 4. Is 8 also a multiple of 5? No. That means 8 is not the lowest common multiple. 12 is a multiple of 4. Is 12 also a multiple of 5? No. So 12 cannot be the lowest common multiple. 16 is a multiple. You start your testing from the lowest multiple. 16 is a multiple of 4. Is 16 also a multiple of 5? No. So 16 is not lowest common multiple. Now let's check 20. 20 is a multiple of 4 and 20 is also a multiple of 5. Therefore 20 is the lowest common multiple of 5 and 4. That is why I write 20 here. You can divide 20 by 5 without any remainder, and you can also divide 4 by 20 without any remainder. So that means 20 is the lowest common multiple of 5 and 4. Now the next thing you do when you already obtain the lowest common multiple is now to divide the lowest common multiple by 5, which is 4. Then you multiply that 4 you get by the numerator of 5. That's 36 multiplied by 4 will give 144. Also, you divide 20 by 4, that's 5. You multiply by that 5 by the numerator of 4, which is 15. So 15 multiplied by 5 will give 75. So you now have a single fraction. So the next thing you do is, what is 144 minus 75? That's 69 over what? The numerator. That is how to subtract and add fractions. So now we've solved the important parameters in our question. The next thing we do now is to write down the statement of the question, and then we'll solve for the final answer. The question says we should divide the sum of 2 whole number 3 over 5 and 6 whole number 1 over 10 by, that's by means the divisor is what? The positive difference between 3 whole number 3 over 4 and 7 whole number 1 over 5. So this is the statement. The sum of 2 whole number 3 over 5 and 6 whole number 1 over 10 divided by the positive difference between 7 whole number 1 over 5 minus 3 whole number 3 over 4. We already get the result for this, which is 87 over 10, and the result for this is also what? 69 over 20. So we write this down in a more simpler form, which is 87 over 10 divided by 69 over 20. And you know, like I said in a previous example, when you want to change this to multiplication, the denominator becomes the numerator and the numerator becomes the denominator. So that is why we have the statement 87 over 10 multiplied by what? 20 over 69. So you can do 87 multiplied by 20 divided by 10 multiplied by 69. So the result you get is what? 174 whole number 69, which is over 69. 174 over 69, which is the improper fraction, or you change it to mixed fraction. 2 whole number 36 over 69, or you know, this 36 over 69 is not yet in its lowest term. You can still divide this by 3 and divide this by 3. So when you divide this by 3, you have 12, and when you divide this by 3, you have 23. So it's either you write 174 over 69 or 2 whole number 12 over 23. So therefore the division of the sum of 2 whole number 3 over 5 and 6 whole number 1 over 10 by the positive difference between 3 whole number 3 over 4 and 7 whole number 1 over 5 is what? 2 whole number 12 over 23. And that solves the question. So now we move to the fifth question. In the fifth question, we were given instructions. It's not like this. We are given instructions to follow. The instruction says we obtain the positive difference of 4 and 7. When the positive difference is obtained, we square the result. After squaring the result, we add it to the cube of 2 whole number 2 over 5, and after we add it to the cube, I told you what cube of a number is, the cube of 2 whole number 2 over 5. Then we divide our result by the product of the positive difference between 3 whole number 3 over 5 and the product of 6 and 2. So that question is more or less like an instruction to follow. The first thing you do, you find a positive difference between 4 and 7. When you obtain the result of positive difference between 4 and 7, you square the result. After squaring the result, you add it to the cube of 2 whole number 2 over 5. After adding it to the cube of 2 whole number 2 over 5, you then divide it by what? The positive difference between the product of 6 and 2 and 3 whole number 2 over 5. That's more or less like a step to follow. So the first thing is what? Positive difference between 4 and 7. You know how to obtain the positive difference between 4 and 7. That is 7 minus 4. What is 7 minus 4? 3. So the next thing said, then you now square the positive difference between 4 and 7. So that's 7 minus 4 raised to power 2. I already explained what square of a number is, which is what? We already have the result for 7 minus 4, which is 3 squared. And when you say 3 squared, same thing as saying 3 multiplied by 3, like I give you in the hint. A squared is A multiplied by A. So 3 squared is what? 3 multiplied by 3, which will give 9. So they said when you've squared the positive difference between 4 and 7, then you add your result, which is 9, to the cube of 2 whole number 2 over 5. So the next thing you do now is what? The difference of 7, the positive difference between 4 and 7 squared plus what? Cube, 2 whole number 2 over 5 cube. So this is the statement. You can see that I'm following the step. So 7 minus 4 squared, we already have the result to be 9, plus we change this to improper fraction. 5 multiplied by 2, 10. 10 plus 2, 12 over 5 raised to power 3. So we have 9 plus. So for you to solve this, you solve for the numerator and then the denominator. So, and I already told you what cube of a number is. If you have 12 cube, the same thing as saying 12 multiplied by 12 multiplied by 12. So this same thing as saying 12 cube divided by 5 cube. If a particular fraction is raised to a particular number, you raise the denominator to that number and you divide it by raising the denominator to that particular number. This is the same thing as saying 9 plus 12 raised to power 3 over 5 raised to power 3. So 12 raised to power 3 is 12 multiplied by 12 multiplied by 12. If you use your calculator for that, you get 1728. 5 cube is 5 multiplied by 5 multiplied by 5, and that will give 125. So this is the same thing. This is the same thing that we did in the previous question. That's addition of what? Of fraction. 9 can be written as 9 over 1. So what is the lowest common multiple of 1 and 125? That's going to be 125, because 1 and 125, the lowest common factor is going to be 125. If you should follow the steps I've taught you, you'll see that 125 is the lowest common multiple. So 1 divided by 125 will give 125. 125 multiplied by 9 will give 1125, plus 125 divided by 125 will give 1. 1 multiplied by 1728 will give 1728. You add this to this, that will become your new numerator divided by the denominator. So you finish that step. The next step now say that the positive difference between 4 and 7 squared added to the cube of 2 whole number 2 over 5. Then you divide it by the positive difference between 3 whole number 3 over 5 and the product of 6 and 12. When you look at that positive difference part, you see that the product of 6 and 2, which will give 12, is greater than 3 whole number 3 over 5. So, and for us to get the positive difference, we subtract the smaller number from the larger number. That means we subtract 3 whole number 3 over 5 from 12. So this is the positive difference between 4 and 7 squared added to the cube of 2 over 2 over 5 divided by what? The positive difference between the product of 6 and 2 and 3 over 3 over 5. I hope that is understood. It's just like what I've been explaining before. Positive difference is the first thing you have here, and that will be the connection between 3 over 3 over 5 and the product of 6 and 2. So product of 6 and 2 minus 3 over 3 over 5. We already have a result for this, which is 2,853 divided by 125, and here 6 times 2 is 12 minus, you change this to improper fraction, 5 multiplied by 3, 15. 15 plus 3 will give 18 over 5. So you do the same thing. This is subtraction of fraction. 12 can be written as 12 over 1. And when you do that for this, you have 42 over 5. You can try it on your own. Since I've explained it to you in 3 different occasions, you can try it on your own. So here we have 2,853 divided by 125. Everything divided by 42 divided by 5. This can be written as 2853 over 125 divided by 42 over 5. But when that division sign changes to multiplication sign, your numerator becomes your denominator and your denominator becomes your numerator. That is why we have 2853 over 125 times 5 over 42. So we use a calculator for this. So the result you get is 951 divided by 350, which is the improper fraction, or you convert it to mixed fraction, or you convert it to a decimal. So these are the 3 results. They are the same thing. 951 over 350 converted to mixed fraction, you have 2 whole number, 251 over 350, and when you convert it to decimal, you have 2.7. So that ends the solution of the example. So exercises are given to you for you to solve and see if you really understand what you've been taught. So next video will be more on word problems with sample questions and solutions. Thanks.